All right. Hello there. Welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. All right. It's time for another installment of our monthly Director Spotlight series, Taste of Director series. This is the series where each month we will choose a specific director, a specific filmmaker. And we'll choose 3 or 4 films from that director's filmography to share a little bit of what that director has contributed to the world of cinema. And we'll also tell you a little bit about that director's background, what inspired them to get into filmmaking, and just share a little bit about another filmmaker that maybe you either have had experience with or maybe someone you haven't heard of, but just creating opportunities for both you and myself to experience more of cinema through the great filmmakers that give us the films that we love. So this month, I am going to present some information about a director that I find incredibly fascinating. This is a director who is one of the most celebrated directors from Spain. He is famous Spanish director Pedro Almodovar. And I have seen a few of his films. I definitely need to see more of his films, but I definitely want to share a little bit about this director and talk about a few of his films. And I definitely want to hear in the comment section what you think about Pedro Almodovar. So sit back, relax, and let's talk a little bit about Mr. Pedro Almodovar. This is our monthly Director Spotlight series, and this entry is Taste of Pedro Almodovar films. So, Pedro Almodovar is a filmmaker who has a style that I really appreciate. I mean, he has a very distinctive, colorful style. He has very vibrant stories and very strong and dynamic female characters that really is just extremely entertaining. Very dynamic female characters that are highlighted in his stories, as well as dynamic male characters, but mainly centered on telling stories about women and different issues that they are dealing with. And some of them are funny, some of them are serious, but they're extremely entertaining however he presents it. And he does a really good job telling these very fascinating stories. So I'm going to talk about a few films from his filmography. But before I do, I'm going to share a little bit of my screen here. And I definitely want to hear in the comments section. Some of you are probably Pedro Almodovar fans. You've watched all of his films, and I definitely want to hear from you all. Pedro Almodovar fans, I want to hear from you in the comments section. What are your favorite Pedro Almodovar films? What are some films from his filmography would you recommend to someone who is new to his films, or someone like myself who's only seen maybe a handful of his films? What are some of the other films that you would highlight in his filmography? But this is Mr. Pedro Almodovar. Of course, he is a Spanish director. He is shown here with Asia Axtianda and Antonio Banderas from the Pain and Glory shoot from 2019. And he's shown with Penelope Cruz, who has appeared in a number of his films, and Jose Luis Gomez in Broken Embraces, 2009. You see Pedro Almodovar with his mother, a young Pedro right here with his mother. And then in probably somewhere in Spain, he grew up in Spain. And then on the set of What Have I Done to Deserve This in 1984. So let me read a little bit about his background. Of course, Pedro Almodovar was born in 1949. He was born in the rural town of Calzada de Calatrava, Calzada de Calatrava, Spain. So you see here a picture of the municipality of Calzada de Calatrava, where Pedro Almodovar was born, and he spent the early years of his life. You'll see here that it is situated just almost exactly due south of Madrid. So he was born there in that city. He moved to Madrid in the early 1970s and immersed himself in the city's burgeoning punk scene. He didn't go to film school, so he didn't get a formal film education, but he had a passion for cinema that drove him to start filming his own stories with a Super 8 camera, capturing the post-Franco countercultural energy of Madrid, Spain. So that was the early, days for Pedro Almodovar. And then his breakthrough in cinema came with the very bold 1988 film Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, which is in the Criterion collection right here that I am showing right here. This absolutely extraordinary film, which is a showcase of the visual style, the visual and narrative style of this director, Pedro Almodovar. And it's just a fascinating film that is very entertaining. It shows a very young Antonio Banderas in a supporting role, but this film stars Carmen Mora, who is a frequent collaborator with Pedro Almodovar. And I'll read the back of the case here. It says, melding melodrama with screwball farce, this Academy Award nominated Black comedy was Pedro Almodovar's international breakthrough and secured his place at the vanguard of modern Spanish cinema. Continuing the auteur's exploration of the female psyche, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown tells the story of Pepa, played by the director's frequent collaborator Carmen Mora, who resolves to kill herself with a batch of sleeping pill laced gazpacho after her lover leaves her. Fortunately, she is interrupted by a deliciously chaotic series of events. The filmmaker channeled Hollywood inspiration into his own unique vision, arriving at the irreverent humor and vibrant visual sense that define his work today. With an exceptional ensemble cast that also includes Antonio Banderas and Rossi da Palma, this film shows an artist in total control of his craft. It absolutely does. This is the front of the case. I love the artwork here. So good. The back of the case, when you open it up, check this out. You see on the disc art, it shows like the pills that she put into that gazpacho, and it shows like I love films of their time. This is a film from 1988. So you see this analog answering machine, and you see them going to pay phones, which, hey, that's what they did back at that time. But you see this wonderful disc art here, and then of course the art here on the actual insert here. Very, very nice. This is a fantastic, dynamic, incredible movie that I really, really enjoy. It's just a powerful statement on female resilience with Carmen Mora's character, and I highly recommend it. It's from 1988. It is in color, of course. It comes in at 89 minutes, so it doesn't keep you very long, and it is extremely entertaining. It's in Spanish with English subtitles, and this is a great Criterion edition. It's a new 2K digital restoration, so this is definitely a recommendation that I would give you for an upcoming Criterion sale if you want to get into this Spanish director's work. Spine 855, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown from 1988. So amazing film. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think of this film? Have you seen this film? What do you think of Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, and how does it rank for you in Pedro Almodovar's filmography? Let me know that in the comments section. But you see Carmen Mora here in a very fascinating scene here in the movie where she's basically burning her bed here. So just a killer film, amazing film. It highlights his visual style with the bright colors and just the dynamic female characters and the chaotic situations that impact their lives. This is just an absolutely fascinating and entertaining film. Love this movie. The next film I'll feature is another one of his films that I really enjoy. I rank this one above the first one I talked about. This one is such an incredibly deep, emotionally powerful film with amazing characters, called All About My Mother. This is also in the Criterion collection. I did a review of this on this channel. It is so good. It's spine number 1012 in the Criterion collection. This is the back of the case here. This is a film from 1999. So just over a decade after Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown in 1988. 11 years later, he gave us All About My Mother, which is an absolutely extraordinary film. And I will read the back of this case as well. This Oscar-winning melodrama. So you see here the Criterion case. You'll see Pedro Almodovar holding the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film. And then you see here just an absolutely beautiful Cecilia Roth here with this colorful umbrella. And I'm trying to remember the name here. I think Antonia San Juan. Her performance in this film, along with Penelope Cruz, along with Cecilia Roth. I mean, the performances were just top notch, A1, like 9.5. I mean, just incredible. I can't really describe to you how amazing these performers are in this film. Just incredible. But yeah, this is an amazing film that I love. And I'll read the back of the case. This Oscar-winning melodrama, one of Pedro Almodovar's most beloved films, provides a dizzying, moving exploration of the meaning of motherhood. In an instant, nurse Manuela Cecilia Roth loses the teenage son she raised on her own. Grief-stricken, she sets out to search for the boy's long-lost father in Barcelona, where she reawakens into a new maternal role as the head of a surrogate family that includes a pregnant HIV-positive nun, Penelope Cruz's character. Penelope Cruz is just awesome in this film. I mean, she's a great collaborator with Pedro Almodovar. An illustrious star of the stage, Marissa Paredes, and a transgender sex worker, Antonia San Juan. Beautifully performed and bursting with cinematic references, All About My Mother is a vibrant tribute to female fortitude, a one-of-a-kind family portrait, and a work of boundless compassion. So, amazing film, All About My Mother. See I love like the art on the pamphlet and the disc case is basically indicative of the vibe of Almodovar's films, just being these bright, vibrant, colorful films with vibrant, colorful characters and just engaging narrative and just interesting situations and dynamic situations that these characters are put into. But the story arc of this film is amazing. This is a stapled booklet, which I love, a nice stapled booklet with some great pictures in here. The Last Dream. This is so good. So good. By Pedro Almodovar Caballero. Love this picture here. Cecilia Roth. It's an amazing film. Matriarchal Society by Emma Wilson. The essay that's included here. But yeah, and then you see the art on the inside, All About My Mother. So just amazing, an amazing addition from Criterion and an amazing film by Pedro Almodovar here, All About My Mother. Just an amazing film. Now, one thing I did not mention about the previous film I talked about, Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, that I really like is just one quick tip. One thing I love about movies is movies that show the process of making movies. And one of the aspects of this film is that the main character, played by Carmen Maura, Pepa, and her lover, Ivan, they basically work in the film industry. They do like Spanish dubs or English dubs. They do the language dubbing on different TV shows or films. So it's interesting seeing that process portrayed in the film. So I love movies that are about making movies or movies that show aspects of the movie making process. So you see that in Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. But anyway, All About My Mother, tremendous film from Pedro Almodovar. Let me know in the comment section below if you've seen All About My Mother, and also definitely check out my review of All About My Mother that I did probably a couple of years ago. Definitely check that review out on this channel. I'll put a link to that review in the description. But let me know what you think about this film and how it ranks for you in Pedro Almodovar's films. On to, I just spilled orange juice on myself, so I will pause. You're seeing that organically. All right, I'm back. The power of video editing. I tell you what. Yeah, I didn't want you to have to waste your time with that cleanup there, but yeah, I just spilled the orange juice and made a little bit of a mess, but I was able to retain a little bit of it, but anyway. So moving along here to the third film in this Taste of Pedro Almodovar films. This is another one of our director spotlights that I love doing on this channel, where we'll highlight a specific director and just give a little bit of a taste of who is this filmmaker? What are some of the films that they've contributed to the world of cinema? What type of filmmaking style do they bring to the table? In the case of Pedro Almodovar, he brings a very distinctive style, and that continues to be exemplified in this film here. Now, I do not have a copy of Volver in my physical collection, but I will tell you a little bit about this amazing film that stars Penelope Cruz. So in 2006, Almodovar brought us Volver. This is a film that blends elements of mystery, family drama, and supernatural occurrences. Starring Penelope Cruz in a career-defining role, Volver is about a woman and her daughter who overcome personal and familial trauma. Here again, we see Almodovar's focus on matriarchal figures, resilience, and redemption. The film's use of vibrant colors and detailed sets encapsulates Almodovar's visual style, while its narrative continues to challenge societal norms about family and femininity. So, another example of strong, dynamic female characters highlighted in a Pedro Almodovar film, of course, again, with the wonderful, beautiful, and amazing Penelope Cruz in the starring role in this film, a career-defining role for her. So this is Volver from Pedro Almodovar. Have you seen Volver? Have you seen any of the other films that I've highlighted here? Let me know that in the comments section below. So yeah, basically, those are the three films that I'm highlighting in this Taste of Director Series entry. Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, All About My Mother, and I don't have a copy of Volver in my physical library, but it would be awesome. I would love to see Criterion, tap into a little bit more of Almodovar's filmography and give us Volver. They also have Tie Me Up and Tie Me Down, which also stars Antonio Banderas. I have not seen that film. That is in the Criterion collection, but I definitely want to pick up a copy of Volver and add it to my collection as well. But would love to see Criterion do a release of that, maybe even on 4K. So, but that would be awesome. But yeah, so Pedro Almodovar's films they're a bold blend of the surreal and deeply personal, portraying intense emotional situations and landscapes with a unique artistic flair, with those beautiful colors and just the way he does his sets designs. Incredible stuff. His exploration of human desires, coupled with his distinctive narrative and visual style, makes each film a unique piece of cinematic art. And that's what it is. You really feel like you're watching a piece of artwork, like a moving piece of artwork, when you're watching one of Pedro Almodovar's films. That's really a great way of sort of expressing what watching his films is like, just given the way that he presents the visual styles of his films and the dynamic nature of his characters. So there you have it. Those are the films I highlighted in this Taste of Director Series entry for Pedro Almodovar. Let me know in the comments section below if you're a Pedro Almodovar fan and you love his films, you've seen most, if not all, of his films. What films would you feature in a Taste of Directors Series segment? What are the films that you would sort of highlight the most? Would it be some of these films? Would it be other films? And what films would you recommend from Pedro Almodovar's filmography? Let me know all that in the comment section below, as well as what you think about this Taste of Directors Series segment. Also, I want to announce that if you haven't seen my preview of what is coming this summer in our Taste of Directors series, we've got 4 directors that we're going to highlight over the next few months. And of course, May, we're going to highlight Steven Spielberg. In June, we're going to cover the director Ingmar Bergman from Sweden. And we're going to cover M. Night Shyamalan in the month of July. And then in August, we're going to do a Taste of Director Series entry for Bong Joon-ho. So that's our summer series in our Taste of Director Series. Definitely let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. And also check out that video where I talk about the upcoming summer series. I also put out a community post asking for your feedback of what are your top 3 favorite horror film directors, because based on your input, I'm going to use that input to inform which director I'm going to highlight in the month of October. So I appreciate your feedback on that. But I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let me know what you think about this installment and what you think about Pedro Almodovar films in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.